Hello everyone, and welcome back to the island of the Lizard King. When we last left off, we just managed to finally enter the fort of the Lizard King, so it's his headquarters. The battle is still raging outside between the freed slaves of elves, humans and dwarves against the Lizard King's minions, which seem to consist of all kinds of nasty creatures like hobgoblins, orcs, trolls, and of course the mutant and non-mutant lizard man. But anyway, we pushed through, and now it's time for us to confront the Lizard King. We still have one final sub-quest or side mission to do, and that is to find the find a fire sword, which is disguised as a rusty old knife. So let's get to it. We're pretty badly bruised, but other than that our stats are great, so we stand a decent chance. Now we could go through the double doors in the wall to our left, or try the doors straight ahead in the far wall. Let's circumvent the area, let's not cross the inner courtyard, and let's try to see as much of the fort as possible. So let's go through the double doors first. The doors open into a corridor which runs to the left and right of us. Prison cells with iron-barred doors line the far wall of the corridor. Looking left, the corridor comes to a dead end, and so we turn right. Okay? In the end cell by a wooden door, we see a frail old man sitting on a wooden bench, his leg chained to the wall. His cell door is open, but the wooden door leading out of the corridor is firmly locked. Okay? Well, let's try to free this guy. Let's see what happens, why he's here, and maybe he'll join us. Let's free the old man. Let's not just leave him here. As we enter his cell, we are surprised that the old man remains silent. Okay, we don't have a choice here. We are not wearing the Ring of Confusion. This seems like a negative item, so we're happy that we're not wearing it. As we reach the old man, he starts to metamorphose before our eyes. Green spikes burst through his clothing, and his mouth becomes a pair of slavering jaws lined with razor-sharp teeth. He is not a man, but a shape changer, and we must fight him. Alright? We have not met a shape changer before, but the front cover of book 3 depicts one, if you're interested in how it must look. And we must fight it. It is unavoidable. And it's pretty strong. It has a skill level of 10, whereas we have a skill level of 13, so we outscale it by 3. And of course the first round is guaranteed to be ours. So we need to hit it 4 more times in order to win. Ouch. Okay. And we managed to survive with being hit once. We leave the cell and its gruesome inmate and try to open the wooden door. Alright, so we are slowly bleeding out, and we still need to fight the the final enemies, so this is not looking good, but whatever. Now we possess 3 iron keys. We need to choose that. If we remember, we picked them up from the lizardmen guards of the slaves at the gold mines near the mud huts. We never get around to use them, so let's see if they help us now. One of the keys fits the lock, and we push the door open. Okay, so that's great. That's how we proceed. We find ourselves standing in a dingy torture chamber. It is full of terrible instruments of pain, racks, thumbscrews, iron maidens, and whips. We also see some rusty knives lying on a table in the corner of the chamber. That's actually a very good news, because we need to be looking for these rusty knives. First, let's pick up a whip. Let's see if it's any use, or if it helps us in any way. We put the whip in our belt and decide what to do next. Okay, it doesn't seem to have done anything at all, caused no harm or no benefits whatsoever. Let's pick up the rusty knife. We know this to be a disguised fire sword, so this should be something. As soon as we touch the handle of one of the knives, it changes in appearance. Instead of a dull old knife, we find ourselves holding a magnificent sword with a flaming blade. It is one of the Lizard King's own fire swords. We gain 2 skill points and 2 luck points. Cutting our new weapon through the air, we make our way over to the door in the far wall. And unfortunately, it did not raise our skill level any further because if you recall, the well-crafted sword that we found in the depths of the mine already raised our skill stat by 2, so theoretically we exchanged that sword for the fire sword and they both add 2 skill points, so we did not get any stronger. It's still an upgrade because obviously it's going to be used against the Lizard King effectively, and the luck points also did nothing for us because we already had maximum luck stats. Anyway, we are absolutely ready to face the Lizard King. Well, we are pretty badly hurt, but other than that, we are absolutely ready to face him. We don't need to collect anything else. We have the monkey, we have the fire sword, and we have decent equipment. So let's proceed. The door opens into a small storeroom stacked with barrels and sacks. Okay, this next room seems to be a storeroom. Yeah, exactly what it said. We could look into one of the barrels or just ignore it. Let's look inside. We still don't need to take whatever is inside. The barrel is full of pineapples, all rotten and covered with fruit flies. But hidden behind the barrel, we discover a water bottle lying on the floor. We pull out the cork and sniff its contents. It might be water, but there is a musty smell rising out of the bottle. Alright, I'm going to wager drinking it. We are badly bruised. Let's hope it's nothing negative, so let's see what it does. Alright, drinking the liquid makes us feel dizzy, but our body feels charged with energy. We gain 1 skill point and 2 stamina points for drinking water brought from an enchanted stream. Okay, that's actually pretty good news. We still have received no skill upgrade. I guess that's this... well, it's either a mistake in the app, an error, or it would have raised our temporary skill level back up, so it's not a permanent stat boost. Or maybe we are capped at +3, I don't know. But in any case, we're back to 9 stamina points, which was what how we started out as before the battle with the shape changer. So we're a tiny bit better, and our chances have improved slightly. Anyway, that was a great find. Refreshed, we walk over to the door in the far wall. Okay, let's see the next room. The door is not locked and opens into a room which is filled with benches and stools. Glass beakers, flasks, and tumblers sit on top of the benches, and shelves on the wall are lined with jars containing curious compounds. We are standing in the Lizard King's laboratory. Okay, it seems like we are getting really to the heart of this evil establishment. Suddenly we hear footsteps coming from the other side of a door in the far wall. Okay, so somebody or something is approaching us. We have 2 options, either to stand and face, draw our sword and face whoever is about to enter, or we could hide under one of the benches. Let's do that. We could still ambush or attack or approach whatever is entering, so let's see if that works out. The door flies open and we see a dwarf, shackled by his arms and legs, being pushed into the laboratory by a grotesque 2-headed lizard man. So it's one of those mutants. It pushes the poor dwarf towards the door leading to the storeroom. And this is precisely what we see happening here. Alright, so this is not a slave to work in the slave mines, obviously, in the gold mines, so probably he is an alchemist or maybe a technician or whatever. So or maybe he works somewhere else. Ooh, this guy has keys. We want to free him. Obviously, we want to pick up this guy's keys. We definitely don't want his sword because we have the fire sword that we need. So we could wait to come out after they have gone into the storeroom. So basically, we could just stay hidden under the table, or we could leap out from our hiding place to attack the mutant. That is the heroic deed to do, and hopefully we may gain something out of it. So let's do just that. We jump behind the hideous mutant and plunge our sword into its back. Okay, we must test our luck, but we are guaranteed to succeed. So we do. Our sword pierces the heart of the lizard man, killing it instantly. That's great. We actually managed to avoid having to fight it fairly, which is always great. We like to fight uh, you know, with unfairly in our advantage. So these battles or these encounters are very often unfair against us. So I don't think we are bending the rules like that. So anyway, we didn't lose anything. Let's see what the dwarf has to say. The dwarf shouts for joy as the lizard man slumps to the floor. We actually are asked if we have a Picklock's wire, and if you recall, that's we bought one for a portion of provisions from the crazy old escaped prisoner at the very beginning in the jungle, the very beginning of our adventure. So we have one. The dwarf's shackles are soon undone by the Picklock's wire. We gain 1 luck point, which is great, which means that once again our next luck roll is going to be absolutely guaranteed. And you might think that, you know, anything above, I think anything above the rate of 6 has more than 50% of succeeding. Yeah, something like that. So a luck stat of either above 6 or 7 is more favored to succeed than to fail. But if you recall, in our previous episode, we failed one that we had a 95+% chance of succeeding. So it's good to have a guaranteed success roll here. So anyway, we tell the dwarf that we are leading the attack on the prison colony, and ask where the Lizard King is hiding. That's not really true. We're not really leading it. I mean, we are doing our own stuff, and hopefully the attack is going decently outside. We are not doing anything about it. He tells us that the Lizard King is on the fort's front battlement. Makes sense. Urging on his troops. Also makes sense. We tell the dwarf to take the mutant's scimitar and help his fellow men outside. We wish him good luck and run through the open doorway ahead. Okay, that also makes perfect sense. We don't want that crappy sword of the lizard man. We have our fire sword, and yeah, this guy, it's probably a decent weapon, so this guy could ambush one of the creatures from the back. This makes sense. Let's proceed. We find ourselves in a corridor which turns sharply to the right. On the corner is a spiral staircase winding up the center of a tower. We have a feeling that we should climb up the staircase. That's not really a feeling. We know for sure that the Lizard King is on the battlement, so that means that it's upstairs. He's upstairs, so we must climb up to the next floor. Let's see if it works out. We run up the staircase until we reach a wooden door. Turning the handle slowly, we open it slightly. There, in the open air, standing feet astride on the battlement, is the infamous Lizard King, waving a clenched fist and calling to his troops. A strange black lion sits obediently at his side, but it is the sight of the gonchong on the Lizard King's head that makes us tremble. We breathe in deeply and step out to the battlements. We wave to our own troops and call out to the Lizard King. He does not even bother to look at us and merely snaps his fingers to send the black lion bounding at us. Alright, this is a recurring theme that the final bosses have quite formidable pet guardians. If you recall, book 1 that was the dragon, book 2 it was the hydra, etc. It's quite common. This one is a black lion, which I think is pretty lame. But he's also, I mean, this Lizard King in himself would not be a very serious threat, I think. With this Gonchong, he's much stronger, and with his fire sword. So obviously he has accessories, so to speak, or equipment, which multiply the threat that he represents. And it's quite a creepy sight, let me tell you. I don't know how he manages to rule like this, but his days of terror are about to end. First we must fight the black lion. Unfortunately, there is no way to avoid fighting it. Most pet guardians we can dispose of without a fight, but not this one. So let's see how strong it is. And wow, it is really strong. It has 11 skill points, which makes it the strongest creature we have ever fought. Obviously we are going to win the first round. We would have won it anyway. We still outskill it by 2 points, so that means that we are theoretically in advantage. And there is one more thing. It has 9 stamina points, so an odd number, which means that I'm going to use luck points continuously until we fail once. If we fail, then it's going to regain one luck point, stamina point, but it won't make us have to hit it fewer times. So first of all, our first roll is going to guaranteed to hit. So it now seems that we only need to hit it 4 times, but let's see how luck works out. And wow, we rolled an 11, that's great. Let's roll against luck another time. Alright. And one final round like this should finish him off, or it off rather, it's a lion. And we did. The Lizard King finally turns to look at us, staring in disbelief at the sight of his dead pet. That makes sense. This was quite a formidable challenge. We disposed of it cleanly, but that's only because we used luck rolls and we are extremely well equipped. He steps forward, he steps towards us, angrily cleaving the air with his fire sword. Alright, we are asked the question, do we carry a monkey on our shoulder? And we actually are carrying the monkey still. I don't know how it acted all throughout these adventures and battles and whatever. But we still have the monkey, so the answer is yes. Are we holding a fire sword as our weapon? Yes, we are. We managed to find one in this fort just a few minutes ago. The Lizard King suddenly halts as he catches sight of our monkey. He starts to shake. His fear of monkey is quite evident. He is so terrified that he can hardly raise his sword to defend himself as we rush forward, okay? Only the mental urging of the Gonchong forces the Lizard King into token resistance. I actually was hoping that we wouldn't have to fight him fairly, and we are not fighting him fairly. Obviously, we are overpowering him with our equipment. Anyway, let's see his stats. And he's extremely tough. That's because of the Gonchong, most probably. So with 15 stamina, I think that's more than what a dragon has, or close enough at least. So he's extremely tough and has high endurance, but with a skill level of 6, he's totally doomed. We outscale him by 7 points, so the difference is bigger than his skill level. So we are extremely favored to win, and once again he has an even number of stamina points, so I'm going to roll against luck. As long as we succeed, once we fail our luck roll, I'm going to stop, and that will not diminish our chances of winning, so that's the correct strategy here. Obviously our first attack is guaranteed to hit, but we managed to double the damage with our luck roll. Alright. So far so perfect. And now he is much weaker than we are, so we are definitely favored to win. And another perfect round, and we have actually killed the Lizard King. Alright. Alright, we fail our luck roll, no problem. One more standard hit and he's down. And he actually waits. He managed to roll a double 6, so that was pretty lucky from his side. We only needed to roll a 5 and we still got an even score. That's fine. Now we win. He couldn't have matched our great roll. So the Lizard King is dead. Our last fatal blow sends the Lizard King crashing onto the stone floor. Now we still have some options to do, and we know exactly what we must do. We could turn to salute our troops. Bad idea. The Gonchong would definitely jump for us and attack us. We could search through the Lizard King's clothing. Also the same scenario would play out. We know, because the shaman has told us flat out, that we must immediately sever the Gonchong's proboscis before it has a chance of attacking us outright. So let's do just that. Before the Gonchong can withdraw its proboscis from the Lizard King, we slice through it with our sword. Both the Lizard King and the Gonchong are slain, and we have won. We had to turn to 400, so we definitely have won. That's great. Now, all that is left to do is let's review our character and the path we took. So, we have a skill level of 13. We are pretty badly beaten up with the stamina of 9. We suffered a lot from the encounter against the mutant lizard man on the dinosaur. But other than that, we have great equipment. We have, well, it's not listed here, but we do have Sog's helmet. and we have 3 swords for some reason. We actually threw away our old sword in the mine, so this is a mistake. But we are carrying a fire sword. We have acquired quite a lot of knowledge, and we have a whole huge list of items. Here is the muted lizardman's shield that gives us another skill point. And yeah, I don't know why we have 2 feathers. I think we only picked up 1, but whatever. Red powder on face, that's something. So anyway, we've gathered a lot of stuff, some of which we didn't need. We never got to use the whip, and we've seen everything, so I don't know what's the point of that was. Or the map. Remember the map that the crazy old guy gave us? Never used it. Alright, let's review our adventure. We arrived on the eastern tip of the Fire Island. We turned leftwards to the south. We met the giant crab, and unfortunately that one killed Mungo, our trusty friend. And yeah, and then we went through the jungle, then the marshlands, and we fought our way through the marshlands, so we didn't go the presumably the tricky way, so we went through the hard way, the more difficult path. We destroyed the Hydra and the giant water snake, and then we went to the gorge. We met the... We actually went on the hills, that's why it's not highlighted. If you recall, that's where we found the Sog's helmet. Right? Okay, we actually confronted the Spit Toad, found something in the depths, some items in the depths of the pond. We used the raft to navigate the river, where we also fought some enemies. The guards were not orc guards. Oh no, sorry, it's this way. So anyway, we cleared out the lizardmen guarding the camp, and we entered the gold mines. We cleared it out perfectly, completely. We've seen every nook and cranny of it, apart from the boreholes of the rock grubs, because we know that they don't contain anything usually. So that was great. We actually went back to the river, and this line is not connected, but afterwards we fought the bear, and we approached the mountain, or rather the volcano. We also had some further adventures, including the Razor Jaw near the sulfur pool, so we did some extra heroic adventuring there. We met the shaman, we passed his trial, and afterwards, well, it's quite jumbled up, to be honest. There was the hobgoblin, the Styracosaurus, the mutant lizardman, the dead pirate and monkey, the woman with the tiger. We didn't have to do anything with these 2. And we attacked the fort, where we fought another hobgoblin. That's why they're connected, but they were 2 different hobgoblins. Anyway, within the fort, we fought the shape changer, the black lion, and finally the lizard king, who was not a real challenge. Let's see what our prize is. We throw the vile Gonchong over the wall and stand on the battlements in full view of our men. A cheer rises from below, and we watch with satisfaction as they easily defeat the Lizard King's demoralized troops. The battle is over, and victory is ours. The elves, dwarfs, and men can now return to their homes on the mainland, and the slave mines of Fire Island will close forever. Mungo would have been proud of us. Okay, that's perfect. We didn't win gold or anything like that, but this is the perfect outcome. I'm very happy with this. We have avenged Mungo, and we have freed the slaves and destroyed this threat, this evil den of evil creatures. The end. Alright, a few words about the book itself. And here's the Lizard King, although this doesn't look like a fire sword, but presumably it is, with the Gonchong and the black lion, or lioness rather. It doesn't seem to have a mane. It looks more like a leopard or a jaguar than a lion. So anyway, I love this book. I think this is great. This is, in my opinion, this is what book 3, The Forest of Doom, should have been. It's Still not as great in my opinion as City of Thieves. That's still the top one so far of the ones we have read up until this moment. But it's a great book. It's definitely interesting. I like the outdoor setting, that it's a different, it has a different feel to it. It's not a dungeon crawling for once. There is nothing wrong with dungeon crawling, but let me tell you, after Death Trap Dungeon, this was really like a breath of fresh air. And the storyline is great. The mission, the adventure, the quest itself is well explained. We start out with a companion, which is fun. And what I really like about this, and what you might not have noticed, is there are quite a lot of parallel paths, but some of them are both okay. So one of the problems in some of the books is that if you take the wrong parallel path, then you are simply you cannot win the game. And here, for instance, at the very beginning, we could have turned on the islet to the other side. Moonwolf would have died anyway, but it would have led to different encounters and different outcomes. We still could have definitely won the game like that. And there are other examples like this. The swamp area is like that as well. So that is really fun. There is a lot of optional content in it. Of course, I showed you everything, so that's also great. But you can cut a lot of the content and still win it. And a lot of the optional content is actually beneficial for you, so it's worth checking out, which is always a great reward. You know, your risk. You go out of your way to find something, and when you find something, it's actually it feels great, and you feel rewarded for your efforts. So overall, I think this is a great book. There is a lot of battles. The difficulty is very, very fair. So it's not a pushover like book 2 was, or book 4. So like the Citadel of Chaos or Starship Traveler were, because those ones were actually pretty easy. But this one has a fair challenge, but not overly difficult. Like Death Trap Dungeon, I think, is far too hard. This one is very well balanced. Once again, not City of Thieves level, but it's pretty awesome. It comes close. So I highly recommend you check it out. There are quite a few little encounters that we haven't seen because of the parallel paths. And as I've said, you can still win if you take them. So if you have the opportunity, definitely check it out. It's a great book, a great edition. There are no special rules, so it's really an excellent example of the series, a pivotal entry, I would say. I'm very happy that I played it, and I'm extremely happy that you joined me and came along on this adventure. I thank you all for watching, and I hope you'll join me on the next adventure as well. Bye bye.